This is where we hold them. This is where we fight.
You are now listening to Sweep the Rack podcast featuring Brooklyn Rob and Big Mike.
Rob, what's good, homie?
Yo, what's happening, Mike? What's going on, bro?
Chilling, man.
Yeah.
Easy week this week.
Yeah.
Teachers convention week here in New Jersey.
Teachers convention.
Yeah, there's a teachers convention every year in AC.
Oh shit. So
Yeah,
you go out?
It's Thursday and Friday of this week. So every
you
teacher
go out
in the
to AC?
state of No, I don't go. No.
Why?
I don't go because you're not required to go. But
Yeah, but it's an AC. I mean,
I know. And I used to go when I was younger. But yeah, I don't have the time. I got to do leaf pickup in the backyard. I got so much to do. I got to break out the cyclone rake and get the leaves done. And yeah, I mean, I don't have time for that. I'm sorry. I do my professional development through other means. But yeah, so easy week for me. You also have election day this week. We don't do politics on Sweep the Rack, so we ain't gonna talk about elections, but it is election week this week. So that's a professional day for me where we go in and we take classes instead of actually teaching. And there's no kids on that day. So I only have students Monday, Wednesday this week. So an easy week for me. Looking forward to it. And that's about it. We're getting ready for the holidays. The holidays are already coming.
yeah.
I mean, before we know it, it's going to be Thanksgiving.
So you get a chance to bowl league this week, or what? We get a league review.
I did bowl league on Tuesday. I shot 580, 570, 570. Like
What
570 something, 574, 575.
what are you guys bowling on?
We're bowling on 3 PBA Legend patterns.
So what pattern was it this past Tuesday?
This was the short that we bowl on. I'd have to go on my email and look it up.
So urethane?
No.
Urethane
Oh my God. Oh, geez. No, the gutter don't hook. The gutter don't hook on this short in the place we're bowling in. And it should hook because when I go to practice at the training center on the same pattern, urethane looks great. But in the center that we're bowling in, for whatever reason, the gutter doesn't hook. And I'll be honest, they're so hard. We're changing the pattern for the second half. Like we already decided that we're going to make a change because they're impossible. I mean, even if you're good and you're throwing it good, they're really hard. I mean, there's been good games bowled on it here and there for sure, but generally speaking, they're just really, really hard. So yeah, we bowled on the short, and basically the way that I have played them the last week or two is I have taken my most aggressive ball to start, a Black Widow 3.0, the orange and black one, and I sort of stand, I think 12 is where I started my feet, and I just look at 6, and I can't really get it right at 6. If I get it right at 6, I'm definitely missing the head pin. If I hit 6, I'm going to have a chance to strike, and if I hit 7, I'm going to go a little bit high, and if I hit 8, I'm going to go through the face or worse. So they're insanely tough for me, and then I do that the first game and a half, and then at some point I switch to a pin down game breaker 4 once they carry down a little bit, and that sort of helps me just keep the ball online and not have it run away from me in the back of the lane, and that has looked good the last couple of weeks. But still, if I miss right, it's gone. With the game breaker 4, if I get it outside of 5, I'm probably going to go in the gutter or pick 3 off the right. So they're kind of reverse blocky a little bit because because in the middle it hooks so much. But yeah, we're gonna change the pattern because they're just too hard. They're too challenging. So I bowled, 570 to me on this is like, wow, I shot 200 the first game, 170 the middle game, made the ball change too late, and then 190 the last game. So, I mean, I think I missed one makeable the whole night. I left a couple splits here and there, and yeah, they're just tough, man. They're just
Yep.
really, really tough. They're really hard. Like
Yeah.
when you strike, you threw it as good as you could possibly throw it. And if you don't execute it to that level, you're very likely not going to strike. So yeah, and I enjoy it. I enjoy the level of execution that you need. But for the general clientele of this league, I definitely think we need something a little bit easier. Yeah, that's going to hook on the gutter a little bit.
Mike in the chat writes, "Can't believe Bayside Bowl is gone for now." We'll get into the PBA schedule. Obviously, that's going to be the bulk of our show. We'll talk about the
570. Want to give a shout to my guy Mike D, who I bowl with. He's been working really hard on his game and trying to change some things, and he bowled great. He at points in the night he even carried me, so shout to him. And shout to Lou, who went like front 7 on this stuff somehow. I mean, it was like crazy.
What's he throwing? What was Lou throwing?
I don't know. I didn't ask him. It was a shiny reactive ball. I know that.
Throwing shiny on that?
Yeah, shiny reactive. And I think it was game 2. So they were likely carried down a bit. And he was playing them very straight through the front part of the lane. Like, I'd say 12, 13 to 6, 7. And just kind of keep it in that area. And it looked pretty good. And yeah, and also, interesting interaction this week during my league. So, there's a lot of people bowling this league who don't have a lot of experience bowling on sports stuff, tougher stuff. And when I bowl against these folks, I want to try and help people out. I do. I know I'm terrible and I'm the problem with bowling and all that. But when I'm bowling this league, I'm legitimately thinking like, can I give a person a pointer or two that might help them out? All right. So we're bowling these 2 younger guys and nice guys. We, started talking right away, hit it off. And then we started bowling and, they were both struggling. I tried to help them out a little bit in practice. They were struggling a little bit. Long story short, I tell the one guy, listen, you need to move your feet left and you need to look here. And this is what you're trying to do. He gets up, he throws like 5 in a row. Okay. They're now beating us. All right. So like I'm helping him and they're beating us. And I don't care about that. It's fine. I find it somewhat funny and somewhat ironic, but we get done for the night. Okay. And I mean, those frames were the best he bowled all night. He struggled, greatly around those. And he comes up to me and I'm telling you, like, he couldn't have been more appreciative of me helping him out and just giving him a little bit of advice and, trying to help get him lined up a little bit the right way so that he had a better chance to strike. And yeah, he was like, oh, when I signed up for this league, somebody told me like, oh yeah, the people that bowl that league, like they'll help you out. And he's like, and in 8 weeks, you're the first person to help me out and say anything to me and try and help me out. He's like, so I appreciate that. So, we got to talking throughout the night and I mentioned to him the training center because he was saying like, yeah, it's tough because you can't practice on this stuff. And I told him, well, actually there is a place you can go to and practice. So I brought that up to him. We got talking about that. Long story short, we ended up at the training center this morning, me and him, a little practice session. So yeah, listen, I like say what you want, but I'm out here trying to help and build and grow this side of the game.
So I have some feedback on that. I personally, during like my sport league that we're bowling, I would love to help people out. Like I would love to help people out. Like there's a lot of people in my league that need the help, they need the advice, and it's
Absolutely.
obvious.
Absolutely.
Right? Now, here's the problem.
Aren't you going to find that in any environment like that?
Yeah, but here's the problem is I won't offer any advice to people unsolicited. I get worried in this day and age that people take it the wrong way. That they see it as me like knowing more than them, or thinking I know more than them, or
You do know more than them.
What?
You do know more than them.
Well, yeah, but I don't want to like give advice to people that don't want it, especially in a league that's my first year there. I don't know anybody really, mostly anybody, only a few people. I'm not going to start giving out unsolicited advice to people that aren't asking for it. Now, if someone asked me and said, "Hey, look, I see you're averaging, I think I'm like 214 right now." They'd like, "Oh, I see you're averaging over 210 or whatever. Like, what do I need to do? Where I need to play? What equipment?" Like, I would be more than happy to do what you did. And I would be even, I've done it before where I would go on my own time and practice with them, help them out, give them advice. Like, I love doing that too. I think that's one, giving back to the game, and I think that's important. And kudos to you, Mike, for doing that. But I also think it's important for people to want to, and that's how they get more hooked on the sport. That's how they want to learn more. They invest in their game, and that's how you keep people engaged, and that's how the sport grows, right? Like, they tell their friends, they get their friends involved, and then they bring more people in, and then you have a good league, good sized people doing it. But yeah, in this day and age, I'm so nervous about giving unsolicited advice to people who don't ask for it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think about that aspect of it too much. If somebody reacted negatively to it, I would just brush it off and be like, "All right, go ahead, bro. Struggle your ass off then. Go right ahead." I mean,
Yeah.
if you don't want a piece of advice, that's fine. But
yeah,
I don't. I think that in your thinking, I think that you underestimate the level to which those bowlers are. I don't want to use the word intimidated because that's not the right word, but I guess I'll use the word hesitant. I think you underestimate how hesitant they are to come up to someone like you and ask a question because they're often afraid that you're going to think it's a dumb question, or who knows what reaction you're going to get from you if they ask you. So I think when the person who is in the position of having proven more knowledge through their performance, right? And honestly, like, you don't have to do more than watch you throw it to understand that you know something about bowling, right?
Sure.
So like, once that person knows that about a bowler, I think that they are almost always accepting of a piece of advice. Especially if you are assured that they are more at the beginning stage of what you are doing, like sport bowling. Now, if I'm on house, I probably would not do the same thing because the person has probably bowled 250s, 260s, 300s, and they're going to look at me like, "What the fuck? What are you talking about?" I shoot 300s around here. So, but on sport, I think you're dealing with a different animal. And I think that, there's more knowledge needed, and people see that, but they don't have it, So like, I'm always willing to just throw some advice.
If I did like feel like I had a good opportunity to give someone a piece of advice, I might approach them as like, "Hey, like, I noticed something, or I think something might help you. Do you mind if I give you have something?" Like, right? I would ask before I.
I don't go up to people like, "Yo, you're gonna listen to me," because I'm always like, "Hey, you want a piece of advice? I noticed I noticed this. I noticed you're doing this. What are your thoughts on that? Something of that nature."
It's what's funny. I don't know if that's ever happened to you before, but I've been practicing. This happened to me a while back, where I was practicing for a really big tournament. Might have been like when the high rollers, whatever. And I was bowling, and there was a guy bowling next to me who was just visibly a a worse bowler than me, right? It was probably in his 160s, 170s, and then came over to me and started to tell me what I was doing wrong. Okay. I mean, it happens. And let me know in the chat, or if you're watching this, if that's ever happened to you where, you're a good bowler or whatever, and you're practicing doing something and you're not even like, you're not striking, right? Like, let's just say you're practicing your balance, or you're practicing something where you're not worried about
practicing playing a certain part of the lane.
Right.
It doesn't match up to what's on the lane at that time.
You're just doing something where you're not worried about the outcome of knocking the pins down, right? And the person who's bowling.
So how do you handle that? How do you handle that?
You take the advice and you thank them, and then you go back to doing what you were doing, and then you go eventually to say, "Oh yeah, I practiced what you told me, and thank you. It helps me." Like, you just kind of.
I don't know about that.
You like feed it because you don't want to be.
I think
I'm not an asshole like that either.
I'm practicing this, and that's why I'm doing that.
No, I just more like, oh yeah, I like, okay, that sounds good, right? Like, oh, okay, oh yeah, I never thought of that. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's happened before. I'm sure it's happened to a lot of people, especially when you're bowling next to somebody and you're like bowling, like whatever. Like there's sometimes when I'm not even practicing spares and I'm throwing strike shots for spare, and then the person comes over like, hey, if you make your spares, you should do this, that. I'm just, yeah, well, I'm not really practicing spares right now. So, but yeah, that's kind of what I'm trying to avoid, me, when I unsolicitedly try to give someone advice. Like, I don't want them to think, well, I'm a better bowler than this kid. Like, why is he giving me advice? And then I'm the one who looks like an idiot.
Oh, that's funny. All right, but yeah, that's it. That's pretty much my league report for this week. We'll be back this Tuesday.
Yeah. So I didn't bowl league this past week. I had to take another week off. Like, I really physically, and I said this after I bowled Agent Ong.
Three bet one in the chat.
Big Michael tell them they couldn't carry his bags in the alley.
No. Who is 3bet1? Please email us.
I know. He's got a good burner going there.
Come on, man.
So yeah, I said it when I initially finished the Agent Ong Open and I bowled those games and the Robert Smith match, that I physically wasn't feeling well. And it's just, it really hasn't, my knee hasn't really been getting better. And my back hasn't really been getting better. So I took another week off to make sure that I didn't really hurt myself more. So I didn't bowl last week. I have x-rays scheduled next week for my back. I'm actually going to see a physical therapist on Monday to get like a consultation to see what's wrong. Because dude, we all know, like, you want to bowl bigger tournaments, I have to physically be able to bowl more than 17 games in 3 days. Like, to a normal person out there who doesn't bowl thinks that's a lot. But for us and people out there who bowl at a higher level, know 17 games in 3 days ain't nothing, right? You should be able to bowl physically. You should have no problems bowling 8 to 16 games a day if you need to, and physically feel okay. There are pros, and look at the PBA 50 guys. How many games do those guys bowl? And those guys are physically, a lot of them are in great shape, right? And here I am at 43 years old, having struggles already with lower back, knees. So I need to physically feel better, and I need to figure out what's going on. So that's what I'm doing right now. I am bowling next week. I will pre-bowl probably the next week or the week after, but we'll see.
So what do you got to do when you can't make it? You got to get a sub, or how you working that out?
No, my 204 blind right now on a 49-foot flat is probably going to win every point.
Okay.
But I don't care about winning or the points or any of that.
Right.
We're going to pre-bowl. The bowling center is really good. Via Linda is really good about setting up the shot for us when we pre-bowl.
Okay.
So they'll set the pair up for us. I'll go there during the week on like 3:30, 4 o'clock, and we'll pre-bowl.
All right, no doubt.
Yep.
All right. PBA, shall we get into it?
Oh, here's a clue. I was there when Rob bowled action at Deer Park. Oh my goodness. Was that the match that I bowled against Sean, the Team USA guy? I forgot his name. Oh man. Let me know. That's old school. I'll have to think about that. 3-bet1. Draw me another clue. Yeah, let's talk about the PBA schedule because some bigger news dropping, right? Talking about some changes in the PBA league and just kind of what's going on with the PBA on the Fox schedule. So I'm going to go through the schedule. I'll go through it fast, Mike, and then we can kind of get into some of the observations and changes we like, we dislike. The tour is starting in Delaware, Mike, in your neck of the woods. Well, I should say close to your neck of the woods. January 25th is when the first show is. PBA Delaware Classic. Then it goes.
I will be there.
You will be there.
I will have action.
Opening night. You bowling action?
Match play. I didn't look up the format, but it better be match play. It better be best of match play.
Okay, so Delaware Classic.
I'm up there last year. You don't remember the YouTube video Homeboy did?
I do remember
the Sports or whatever it was.
Yeah, I'm the
world's
check
best.
Check us out, Sweep the Rack.
Sweep the Rack, world's best bowling better.
Pressing questions with Big Mike.
Yeah, I'm coming back. Again. Round 2. Here we go.
I like it. So then goes the U.S. Open. So different than this. We're not opening with a major, which I'm happy about. I don't like opening with the U.S. Open. I think the PBA Delaware Classic gives the players a little bit of a warm up right before they get into the U.S. Open. At least they get some games and they get their feet under them. I like that. Second week,
some extra practice in if you miss the cut. You can get that extra work in, figure things out a little bit.
So yeah, Delaware Classic. Then they goes to U.S. Open in Indy at Royal Pin Woodland. That'll be show will be on the February 1st and 2nd weekend. Mike, I wonder how compared that is. What weekend is the Super Bowl? Is that the weekend after?
I'm not sure.
It's a good question. Where is the Super Bowl compared to the U.S. Open show? There's no way that they're putting the U.S. Open finals on the same slot as the Super Bowl, right?
Well, the Super Bowl's on later, so I can see them doing that and having it earlier in the day. Yeah, and I think isn't the U.S. Open 2 shows again this year?
It is prelims on Saturday, February 1st on FS1, and Sunday on Big Fox. Anybody in the chat? Can you look up when the Super Bowl is? What
does prelims mean? What does
prelims
mean?
Who knows at this point? 30-man step ladder.
Second week in February, Jason D says.
Okay, so that would be then the weekend after.
Okay, so that'll be the weekend off. That'll be the weekend between the championship games and the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Right? So go ahead.
February.
So the next weekend will be
February 8th. Yeah, right. It's Sunday, February 8th is the PBA Illinois Classic. That is 8 p.m. Eastern. Saturday, February 8th. So Saturday before the Super Bowl.
Okay.
February 8th on FS1, PBA Illinois Classic.
I like it.
Next week, Pete Weber, Missouri Classic.
What time? Wait, what time is that?
8 p.m. Eastern.
8 p.m.
8 p.m. Eastern.
8 p.m. Saturday night. I like it.
I like that time slot.
I'm going to be locked in front of the TV night before the Super Bowl. Warming up the betting account. That's right.
Getting the bets in before the Super Bowl. Then it goes to Missouri Classic the weekend after, Sunday, February 16th, 1 p.m. on FS1. Roth Home Doubles Championship is then in a few weeks after that, March 2nd. That's in Vernon Hills, Illinois. So it's going Illinois Classic, back to Missouri, back to Vernon Hills. But I would imagine you would think, right, where the Roth Home Doubles. I'm just wondering, because this is the TV schedule. So I'm wondering if they're going to be qualifying when they're in Vernon Hills for the Illinois Classic, and then the finals have to go back to Illinois a couple weeks later. Oh, wait, it's probably taped. What am I thinking? It's stupid. It's probably taped, right? So they probably taped it in Vernon Hills during the Illinois Classic, and then it gets ran on FS1 on Sunday, March 2nd. Okay, now we got a new tournament, the PBA Nevada Classic. I don't think I've ever heard of this, right? And Coconut Bowl at Wild Island. I've never heard of this. This is the first time reading of Coconut Bowl at Wild Island. We'll have to Google it. Saturday, March 15th. 2025 at 6 p.m. on FS1. And it says the finals to be held at the National Bowling Stadium in Reno.
Son, I can't. I'm sorry.
What?
Coconut Bowl. What was the name? Coconut Bowl at what?
Yeah, Coconut Bowl in Wild Island. Sounds like a
Sounds like a
spectacle.
water park.
Sounds like a
That's what
water
it sounds
park.
like. Sounds like a water park.
Oh yeah, it does.
I envision Boog Kroll sliding down a water slide, sliding down a water slide.
Cannonball, Boog Kroll cannonball.
While Kevin Williams cannonballs off the giant rock before the finals are going on.
Okay, let's Google this. So while we're here, let's Google this Coconut Bowl.
Hold on, Tobias is in the chat. I'm sorry to interrupt this schedule review, but Tobias is in the chat. It says Coconut Bowl is like an entertainment center with like 40 lanes. They have games, water slide, and pool. I was right. Right. The name says it all. They did a nice job naming that place. It brought that image to my mind.
Yes,
it is a water park. Are you serious?
Hold on, wait. I got it up
PBA.
here.
What are we doing? Seriously, I'm gonna have to shut my mic off. I gotta shut my mic off for a minute.
All right, hold on. Wild Island Coconut Bowl. There is the water park. So the Cannon Boog Bowl is gonna be in full effect. There's a water park. This is a pretty cool place, Mike. You should go and watch. You could bring your kids.
I'm not saying that it's not, but I'm asking. Seriously. I'm seriously asking. Is it a place that we want to have a PBA tournament?
I don't know. I think it'd be fun. It's a family adventure park, Mike. Anyway, so that's going on.
Bolero, am I correct? It's not Bolero related.
It doesn't say anything about Bolero. The bowling center looks legit. It looks like a real bowling alley. It has bowling leagues. What is a bowling garage? Oh, it's like a private, like unique experience for your group. So it's like a private
little 2-lane
facility. There's Paradise Pro Shop. Shouts to whoever is running a pro shop inside this bowling center.
Oh my goodness.
Look, they got Specto.
Okay, all right. That's encouraging.
Legit pro shop inside of Wild Park Adventures.
Is it string pins? Good question, GeoStrap. Is it string pins? GeoStrap in the chat.
Let's see here. Maybe there's something about the lanes here that we could
I'm sorry I sent us down this rabbit hole. I apologize.
Located away from the main lanes. No. Bowlers of all ages and skill levels. Competition pro shop. Laser light. Learn more. Let's see. All 40 lanes come alive. Rock and Bowl. They should do the PBA tour stop with the Rock and Bowl. That would be
Dougie
fun.
runs some cosmic tournaments. The PBA should do the same.
Yeah. I don't know. There's not a lot. Maybe someone who's in the Nevada area and the Reno could tell us if they're on string pins or not. But it's a very good question. Anyway, all right. Enough of the Boog Cannonball. I can't wait at the water park.
Hold on, I got to bring up Robert Hamilton's comment here. I have to bring up his comment. This is a great comment. He says, "Might as well have a tour stop at Dave and Buster's or Jillian's." I mean, you're right. Yes.
Well, guess what?
That's why I'm laughing, Robert.
Guess what? If the PBA ever needed to do that, I do have a lot of contacts at high level at Dave & Buster's because they were my client for years in my old business. So I could make that connection if needed to. The only problem is Dave & Buster's told me, so here's a tidbit. Dave & Buster's only has a few actually set stores that only have bowling lanes in them. And the reason for that is because the lanes take up too much valuable space for putting their arcade games. They actually go by square footage and they go by the games and how much of that occupies the store. And the bowling lanes just take up way too much space. And they've come to the conclusion that it's just not profitable. So that's the reason why Dave & Buster's, they're essentially going to be getting rid of all the lanes probably, or moving into new stores and not having bowling in it.
All right, can we get back on the rails here, please?
We can get back on the rails.
Thank you.
So after the coconut water park adventure at Wild Island, you were going to the PBA World Series of Bowling in Reno. You have 4 animal pattern tournaments from Sunday, March 16th to Wednesday, March 19th. And these are all shows, right? So the week prior to these shows are going to be the bowling. I'm not sure if it's 1 week, 2 weeks, whatever, but it definitely will be March, will be a lot of the World Series.
Okay. Best week in bowling.
All no, it's not. All on FS1 live. It looks like
What
Sunday,
night?
Monday, Tuesday.
Go ahead.
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then the World Championships will be on Big Fox on Saturday, March 22nd.
What time?
3 p.m. Saturday Eastern.
Okay.
Then it looks like there's going to be a week off after that. There's probably guys need it. Then they're going to Allen Park, Michigan to Thunder Bowl to bowl the Masters, which we knew the Masters was going to be in Thunder Bowl, and it's going to be in the end of March. The prelims, 2 shows, 12 p.m. FS1, as well as the finals on Sunday, the 30th at 12 p.m. Eastern on Big Fox. So after the Masters, the PBA Junior National Championship is going to run their live show on April 4th, as well as the All-Star Weekend will be in Waukesha, Wisconsin, Saturday and Sunday, April 5th and 6th. I'm pissed about this, Mike. I was hoping they would come back to Phoenix for the celebrity event. I had a good time. It's always good to have Bill come down. Hopefully, if he was going to make it this year, but be able to just be a part of that for a couple days was awesome. But unfortunately, the PBA has something against West Coast, anything other than Nevada, it looks like these days. So All-Star Weekend with Wisconsin. Then we're back to the PBA Players Championship in Jackson, Michigan, Saturday and Sunday, April 12th and 13th. 12 p.m. Sunday live show, Big Fox. Then going to back-to-back majors, Mike, PBA Players Championship and then PBA Tournament of Champions. Fairlawn, back to Fairlawn, Ohio, April 19th and 20th. Big Fox live show, 12:30.
Okay.
Then it's the PBA Elite League, Battle of the Brands. I think we'll talk a little bit about this. Allen Park, and it's 2 shows, Mike. Saturday 26th, Sunday 27th. Mike. I don't see anything about anywhere going to Portland, Maine. There is a story on Jeff Riggle's 11 Frame, talks a little bit about it. Tom Clark talked about it on Beef and Barnsey. For this year, at least specifically, the PBA League will not be in Portland, Maine. And they're bringing the Battle of the Brands. Isn't this how the PBA League started? Isn't that a little bit how it started?
For those of us who have been here long enough, we're back to where we began. Yes?
Yes. So initially, Mike, my thoughts on this. I don't know we don't know a lot of the details, do we? Are they having a draft?
I mean, I read some details. I don't know if there's a draft or not. I didn't read about that. Basically, the details I read was that the qualifying for the league is going to have something to do with the regular bowling, some kind of points standings for placement in the regular tournaments throughout the year. So I don't know. I mean, my thoughts on this are short. It stinks. It stinks for several reasons. Okay. Number one, it stinks because they have what might be the most exciting piece of their product that they present, and they're gonna change it, and they're not gonna change it for the better. They're gonna change it for the worse. Okay. Secondly, like you said, they're taking it out of Bayside. It's ridiculous. I mean, why would you do that? Why would you do that? Like if anything, I know your hardcore fans may not be the biggest supporters of Bayside, etc. But for that event, it was built for that. It was built for that event. Okay. They also, from what I understand, didn't really make Charlie Mitchell aware that they weren't coming back. from what I read, he found out from the press release of the schedule. That's not right. This is somebody who's done a lot for the PBA, right? So, I have several issues with it. We've talked about the league at length on this show. We've done whole segments on what we think should be done. I even wrote an article at one point about changes to the league and what they should do. And I without getting too deeply into it again and rehashing all those points all over again, this certainly isn't the way that I think it should go, or the direction that they should go in.
So I don't know, is the Battle of the Brands just like going to be like a side tournament of the league itself? Or is it just
I think the Battle of the Brands is the league this year.
So we don't know if it looks like from this that they're getting rid of the draft, and they're just having leagues or captains. Maybe they might name captains picking like people from their brand, I guess. Look, let's be clear here. There's 3 bowling ball companies right now. I don't want to hear about the brands. There's 3 companies. There's Brunswick, there's Storm, and there's Motive. Okay. Brunswick has like 6 brands.
Right.
So are they going to have 6 teams with each brand for Brunswick, and then have 3, then have Storm, Rotogrip, Global brands like teams? Like, probably. And then you have Motive have 1 team. So like I don't know. I don't understand what that is. Like Brunswick. So Brunswick essentially is going to put in like 6 teams, or how many brands there are. Like,
and it'll make no sense because you'll have, they can throw whatever balls they want. So like they'll present it as like, oh, this guy bowls for this brand, let's say Track, and this guy bowls for Hammer, but they're both using the same bowling ball. Like, that ain't going to make a lot of sense either, right? So,
yeah. Well, they're going to have to stick to probably using the brand that their team, I would imagine, right?
So Tobias and Needs a Kidney are both saying it's 3 brands from SPI, 4 from Brunswick, 1 from Motive. Tobias is saying Brunswick would be limited to 3 to 5 brands, something like that.
This is getting crazy.
So
this is getting nuts.
I just, in general, though, I just think that that's the wrong direction to go in.
I guess here's my thing is out of all the things to change, and I think I'm going to pile on your point, which I completely agree on. Out of all the things to change on the league, all the things that aren't working right now with the league, the one thing that is working is being in Portland, right? Just being a unique atmosphere, a unique experience, and they take it out of the one thing that is working, and now I guess I would have to see the other changes of what they're going to do. I think we could be singing differently if they add more money, if they started making it a legit competition. But you can't do that if you're going to start making teams by brands. Right? Like, that now makes it even a little bit more of a, what did you used to call, like, an exhibition? Right? This is just making it more of an exhibition by putting brand against brand. And if the Brunswick brands are bowling against each other, should we really care who wins? Like, if I'm just using this example, if Columbia is bowling Track, like, should we care who wins? Who's better, Columbia or Track? I don't care. They come from the same company. They come from the same manufacturer. Like, why should I care about that, right? Like, so I'm just like wondering what more of the details are. But you're right. The initial, just like from us is just like, what the hell? Like, why would they take it out of Bayside when that's really the only thing that's working?
Well, I mean, somebody said in the chat, who knows, maybe they want to move things to Bolero centers and make that, kind of a centric thing of what they're doing. And I wouldn't be surprised by that.
Wait. Ooh, speculation here.
Yeah.
Do you think Bolero
doesn't that make sense?
You think Bolero came in and told Tom, hey, you can't Portland's not a Bolero center. We need this into a Bolero center.
I don't know. I mean, would
I'm
you be surprised?
speculation.
Would you be surprised if that happened?
Absolutely not.
No, I wouldn't be surprised either. But I'll tell you what I think happened with Bayside from my perspective. I think it was like this. They went up to Bayside those first couple times and they realized, wow, this is amazing. We got something here. And then they made the mistake of just overdoing it and overusing it. Instead of having like one or two big shows at Bayside every year, there were really great shows that were packed with energy and everything. It became, oh, we're going to have a show every night from Bayside for 5 nights in a row, 6 nights in a row. And like, honestly, by the third night, even I was like, all right, I've seen enough of this. Like, I just have. I think
Remind,
that type of energy and stuff, like, it can be really good in small doses, but when you try and hammer people over the head with it, yeah, that's a lot to me. So I definitely think that has something to do with it as well. I think there's a little bit of fatigue on the part of the fans, and perhaps even on the part of the PBA itself over the amount of Bayside and things of this nature. So
hey, Chelsea, good to hear from you.
go ahead.
I'm going to read her comment here. There's just no league. That's my understanding. There's money from the PBA to the brand team that wins most points at the end of the year, according to Clark, Beef and Barnsley show. He also mentioned that stipulations then require the brand team to pay it out of the players that participated on that team in that year in some way.
Yeah, I had read this too in Jeff Rickles' article. What Nico says here, he says Tom Clark said on Beef and Barnsley that the TV contract expires in June, and they couldn't do it in September like they wanted to, and that very well may be true. And I'll be honest, Nico, I actually screenshotted that part of Jeff's article. It's interesting you bring that up because when I read Jeff's article, that was honestly the most concerning thing to me because it was like, well, are you then saying that you're not sure that there's going to be a Fox contract come September? Like, if you were sure, wouldn't you just book it anyway? I mean, it's one of the best shows of the year, generally speaking. Maybe not when it's on for 5 nights in a row for 2 hours every night, but generally speaking, it's one of the best shows of the year. So that raised my eyebrows, and definitely, I definitely took notice of that as well.
But couldn't you work with Charlie on that?
Yeah, well, that was giving me my other point, Rob. Is if they really wanted it there, it would be there, right?
Like, couldn't you say to Charlie, look, like, let's just pencil in that weekend for the league, and then if anything happens with the Fox deal, then we'll cancel or we'll kind of figure it out from there. But let's just like pencil in a week.
Wouldn't you say our Fox deal is up in June? Let's do something before June. I'll put you on the schedule before June.
But couldn't they just even do a Bull TV like live stream from Charlie if there was no even Fox? Sure. I'm just, hey, look, like this is just an extraordinary circumstance where we don't have Fox coming, but we're going to run the league final shows from Bayside, but we're going to live stream on Bowl TV. I know it wouldn't be the same, and I'm using that as a worst case scenario, but I think there's a will, there's a way. I think I agree though. It was a little bit of a fatigue with the league. I stressed that. Remember when the league finals were going on, I said, look, it's just not the same. It's just, there's no interest in me as a fan. Maybe I don't know what the viewer ratings were for the league this year. I'd have to have someone who knows that information, but maybe the ratings weren't what they wanted it to be. And maybe they made some decisions based on that. I don't know. But for me, like, I think there is a product there that could have been really good. And they could have done a lot with it if they would have made some changes. But I think this change, I guess we'll have to see more details behind it. I don't want to jump to the conclusions.
I'm shooting from the hip here. I am. I'm not. In no way, shape, or form did I give this idea a ton of thought. But You mentioned in the schedule, Rob, that they have that All-Star weekend again.
Right.
Okay. Wouldn't that be the perfect weekend to do the team event? Like, if you want to change it, if you want to do something really different, right, and you're going to remake it into something, like, why not say, all right, we're going to select this many All-Stars, and these guys are going to form teams like the NBA does. We're going to pick captains, and these guys are going to form teams, and in our All-Star weekend, we're going to bowl the team event. I'm just saying, just shooting from the hip, like, why not try something completely different? Like, if you're still doing an event like the All-Star weekend, but you're not going to do an event like the PBA League, I don't know. Like, I just it doesn't make any sense to me.
So
that seemed to be one of the better products that that they had.
So here's my thought. Okay, now I'm shooting from the hip. I think the PBA does need a team tournament. Okay, why does it have to be a league? Okay, why can't it just be a tournament? Now let's just say instead of doing one of these singles championship weeks, they're doing like the Nevada Classic we talked about or the Delaware Classic. What if they ran a week tournament, one tournament where it was a 4-man team and every pro you get to put together your best 3-man team or 4-man teams, and you actually run a tournament that maybe gave titles and put a legit tournament together. I mean, a legit tournament, right? And then you have 3 days of qualifying, match play, whatever it is, you figure it out. And then you have this like crazy kind of step ladder. I don't know, Bakers,
like
whatever you want to do.
Like the doubles event,
the
but
doubles
more
event,
of a full team.
For more of a full team. And maybe you let the women, the PWBA Women Bowl, let them put together teams, and even let a couple of amateur teams together, right? And see how they do. I don't know. There's
maybe
ways to do it.
A couple collegiate teams,
right? And you make it a huge team event. Put it in a big bowling center. Do it in Reno in the World Series, right? When everyone's there, and have it for like 5 days and fill the place up. Biggest team tournament in the world. Have the international teams if they want to come in. I mean, whatever it is, right? But ultimately, give a decent amount of money, put in a couple of titles at whoever wins, and then run a real team tournament. Who says it has to be a league and all this stuff if they're going to do that? But look, I'm just throwing that out there, and I think that would be a pretty cool event.
No doubt. All right. Any other thoughts on the schedule here? I mean, it's to me very similar to last year.
I do. My first initial reaction to seeing this, Mike, was the lack of just diversity of areas in the country that they're bowling. Okay, you're either in the Midwest or you're in Reno, right? There's no tournaments in the Southeast as of now. If you live anywhere on the East Coast, except for Delaware, there's no tournaments there. There's no tournaments in Southeast area. There's no tournaments in Texas area, right? There's no tournaments in the West Coast, California, Arizona. What about the Pacific Northwest, Seattle, Oregon? How many areas of the country are they missing in this tour? It's all Midwest. All of it's Midwest. Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Wisconsin, Missouri, right? But people who want to watch the tour that live in Portland, Oregon, or live in Lubbock, Texas, or live in Boca Raton, Florida, there's no driving distance tournaments from them to go, right? Like, you can't just hop in the car and go drive 5 or 6 hours to watch the PBA tour. I think they're limiting their viewers. They're limiting their fans. And just an example, like when we were kids, dude, the favorite time of the year for us when we were 15, 13, 14-year-old kids, and we say it all the time, was when the PBA tour was at Carolina, New Jersey, and we can go watch the Friday night match play and maybe even go to the show when they had on Saturday or Thursday for like qualifying. It's the best time, and I think the PBA it needs to expand they're just cities that they're going to bowl. They're limiting themselves to just certain part of the areas of the country, and I don't like it.
Well, there's not that many events. I mean, you can't travel around that much when there's just not that many events to go around, right? Number two, and Scott V in the chat beat me to it. And we talked about this behind the scenes before we came on. It's so much money to travel, Rob. Like if you start traveling to all these different places with great distances between, guys are going to have to fly. Your travel costs become out of control. I sort of understand why they might geographically try and run most things in the same area, because it's kind of like, all right, once you're there, you're in that general area, the travel from place to place is a little bit cheaper, and I get that. I think it's unfortunate. I agree with you that the best times as a junior bowler were when the Petraglia Open was at Carolier and we got to go for the week and watch and hang out. And I mean, that was the best. But
wasn't the whole
but it's
point of
not like that
Bolero?
anymore. Hold on, hear me out. It's not like that anymore. Okay. That tournament in Delaware last year, I went. Attendance was sparse at best, bro. Sparse at best. I went to the event in Bethlehem last June. Now there was a bachelor party full of guys there that were rowdy the entire weekend and screaming and hollering on the shows. But again, attendance wasn't like through the roof. It was good. It was good, but it wasn't like Carolier back in the day when you had bleachers behind every other pair that were full. You couldn't even get a seat. So I think those days are gone for whatever reason. I just don't think the numbers are there to have that even really be a factor.
Yeah, so I guess my point wasn't the whole point of Bolero taking over the PBA tour to like add this money into the PBA tour. Where's the Bolero money? I thought that was going to be a big thing for the PBA, but I guess it's not, and I guess they're trying to cut costs down. I get the logistics of it's a nightmare. I get it. It's expensive. Setting up film crews, going across the country, whatever.
Yeah.
But the way it's set up, though, it's just they're doing that anyway, but they're just sticking to the Illinois, Michigan, Wisconsin areas. I just think that there might be a way where you could bowl a few tournaments in the Midwest, then go to maybe the Georgia, North Carolina area, do a few tournaments there, then go maybe to Texas, do some tournaments there. I don't know. I'm just, as a fan, being in Arizona, which the closest stops to me will be in Reno, which is like a 10-hour death drive. Sucks. In the middle of the desert for nothing. It's just like for me to go want to watch the PBA. There's no driving, close tournaments to me, and it annoys me. But I understand what you're saying on the logistics of it.
No doubt. All right, Rob, you ready to wrap it up? Give the people what they want?
Let's do it.
You want to go first?
I'll go first.
Go ahead.
I'll go first. My worst of the week goes to a gentleman named Wayne Hotch. And he put a picture of some radical ball. I don't even know. It's probably one of the new releases. And he writes, this beast is not made for a house shot. But I was like, let's give it a go last night. Changed the surface to a true cut 2K. And let's say it was quite a surprise. 753 moved a total of 5 boards and up 1 inch on the approach. And then he hashtag a few sponsorships that he has. So my first thought originally was, what ball is not made for a house shot, Mike? You could throw pretty much any performance ball right now, new release, you could throw anything from the high performance, mid performance to low performance on a pro shop wall, and it's made for a house shot. Okay, you just have to make maybe some adjustments on where you're standing and where your surface on some of these balls are. But don't sit here and tell me this ball is not made for a house shot. Okay. And you move the total of 5 boards. Okay. It's probably not the ball you're using. It's probably the shot that you're bowling on. You probably didn't need to move 5 boards because the shot is just so easy that it was just a matter of moving a board or 2 every game. So yeah, that's my worst of the week because I guess now they're making balls that aren't made for house shots, Mike, which is completely wild to me.
I don't think that's true.
What's not true? That every ball is not that certain balls are not made for house shots?
Yes.
What? Okay, explain. I love to hear this.
No, I don't. I think all balls are made for house shots.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I was saying the point is not true, is what I was trying to say. So
some balls are better for house shots than other balls, right? Like you could find different bowling balls that are going to be better, but you're going to score with mostly any bowling ball if you have an idea of what you're doing, and you don't tell me sit there and tell me this ball's not made for a house shot, but you magically pulled it out and bowled 750 with it. Like,
it's crazy. we're at such a bad place in bowling.
It's miserable.
We are. We're not in a good place.
Yeah.
My worst of the week is going to the PBA and Tom Clark.
Ooh, Tom Clark got worst of the week?
If it's true that they didn't tell Charlie Mitchell that they're not coming back. I mean, really, that's not right.
Where did you hear that? Did Charlie go out and say that, or where? I'd like to. Do we need to reach out to Charlie?
I asked. You know, I know some people up there.
Okay.
And yeah, I asked around a little bit. And yeah, I mean that was the answer that I got.
Wow.
You know, and yes, Nico's saying that he put it on his Facebook. Someone sent me a screenshot of that and told me, yeah, look here, you know, this is what he said. So I was really disappointed. I was really disappointed to hear that. You know, and I think it's deserving of worst of the week. I really do. You know, just because, you know, you doing what's right, number one, but also because of the way the Bayside supported the PBA. You know, they deserve better than that.
You think something went down behind the scenes that we don't know about?
I don't know. Who knows? If anything, I think what somebody said in the chat earlier is probably more the case, that, you know, it's probably just something that they want to, they likely want to keep it in Bolero centers as much as they can, you know. But I don't know. I mean, if Charlie Mitchell's willing to sponsor the event and from what I understand, pay the PBA to come to his place, like, the PBA should take up anybody on an offer that wants to pay them to come to their place. Okay, so I don't know. To do the opposite of that, and then to have it out there as if, you know, those people weren't made aware, is not a good look. That's what I'm saying. So
yeah, there's a lot of I got to go through. I'm on Charlie's Facebook right now. I haven't been on social media a lot the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I wasn't going to mention the Facebook post, but since Nico brought it up, yeah, I guess
there's a lot going on Facebook. I haven't been on the last week or two. I've been off just due to like sports and political toxic stuff going on right now on social media. So I've been staying away from a lot of it. But this one is interesting to go through his Facebook, and there's been some comments and back and forth. So yeah, it's interesting to see what happened. Maybe we could reach out to Charlie and maybe get him on and talk to him about it. I think maybe he'd want to come on. It's probably a good thing. Maybe he wants to talk. So, all right, Mike, you ready to wrap it up?
Let's do it. Final thoughts, Rob.
Yeah, I got two quick final thoughts. First final thoughts is, shouts to Rudy Rebs, man. You see, he won a PBA 50 regional title. It took the guy literally a few months to get back on the horse, to get his feet under him, for him to start having some success. I did reach out to him again. Still been trying to get him on. He's not answering me again. If anybody could reach out to Rudy, if you talk to him, I'm like seriously begging the guy for an interview. He's the one guy I will keep asking for it. Usually I wouldn't. I'd be giving up and saying, you know what, I don't need it, but I need a Rudy interview like I need Air Mike. The second thing is, regardless of the tour schedule and a lot of the criticisms we give it based on the league changes not being in Portland, I still think it's really important that there's still going to be a lot of bowling on TV next year. I think it's very important that Big Fox continues to show live shows of the majors, the four majors, and the one other show that they do the PBA playoffs. FS1 still is giving us a lot of airtime. And I think in order to the PBA to continue to be around and survive, live bowling on TV is mandatory. Once that doesn't happen, then I will start being very nervous about the longevity of the PBA tour.
Yeah,
but
okay. Oh, this is. We need to table this for next week.
Just real quick, and then we'll talk about it next week.
No, all right, but here's the question in response to that. Okay, the question in response to that is, how much longer do we have before we got to produce real results, real following, before that happens or before that's the case?
I don't know,
right? Because I don't think we have too much longer. I'll be honest.
I
think it's poop or get off the pot time.
Do you know who would be a good person to talk to? Rob Stone.
Yeah.
I think Rob Stone would be a good person to talk to.
Oh, Rob Stone embroiled in beef with Pat McAfee. You see that? Pat McAfee talking about the Fox Big Noon show and all that. Yeah, there's beef. Yeah. There's beef out there.
Maybe we could get McAfee on.
Beef is when you need two keys to start your Jeep. Be careful out there, Rob.
Hey, Pat McAfee, if you're listening, because you might be, come on the show, man. Bring Aaron Rodgers on too. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
All right, Mike.
But no, we have to table that discussion.
Okay, we will
next week, right?
We'll talk about it next week. Next week I don't think we'll be on. We might have to change days. I might actually be at the Cardinals Jets game. They're playing in Arizona.
My final thought is, let's hope we're here. Let's hope the internet is running and we're all good and here and our country is good and stable come next Sunday. Okay.
Let's
get through this week.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit of
another show. Text me on Thursday or Friday, and we'll discuss.
Look, we don't get into politics, but I will tell people to go out and do your duty.
Yeah, go vote.
Go out and do your duty.
Go vote.
Go vote.
Participate.
It's
kind of pathetic when you look at the number of people that vote versus don't vote.
Go vote. Whatever, regardless of where your beliefs stand, it's important that you do your civil duty and you go vote and make your opinion heard.
Jimmy says, let's get through this election. I'm sick of the political nonsense.
I'm sick of the text messages. Okay.
That's all that. All the above. All the above. All right.
Yep.
Let's get through it. We'll be back next week or within the next couple weeks. We'll post and let everybody know what we're doing. Hit us up on social media. He's at BrooklynRob11. I'm at 215. We do most of our interaction on X. Email us, sweeptherack@gmail. As always, we love the emails. Keep them coming.
TikTok.
Emails coming. Our TikToks are hot. Our TikToks
got hot TikToks coming through.
Hey, check us out on social media. Give us a like. Give us a follow. We appreciate
it. Subscribe, all that nonsense.
Subscribe. All right, and everybody have a good week, and we'll be back next week.
I appreciate everybody.
You are now listening to Sweep the Rack podcast featuring Brooklyn Rob and Big Mike.